Darlene, can you please bring the council member's laptop? There she is. Thank you very much. I'd like to call this Tampa City Council evening meeting to order. At this time, can I have roll call, please?
Carlson. Here. Hurtak. Clendenin.
Here.
Henderson.
Present.
Vieira. Miranda. And Maniscalco.
All right,
We
let's
have a
do.
physical quorum.
Thank you very much. There was a memo this morning, and I'll reiterate it again for the record. Councilmember Hurtak will be absent, and Councilmember Vieira might be stuck in traffic or might be calling in. So let's go over the agenda for some cleanup items. Hello, sir. Please state your name.
Hi, good evening, City Council. My name is Leo DeBartoleben. I'm with the Development Coordination Department, and just have a couple of items to clear off of the agenda. The first item is item number 5, file number AB 224-000008. Will not be heard. It's a misnotice.
All right, can I get a motion to remove item 5?
Be withdrawn.
Motion from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, and item number 6?
Item number 6 is AB 224-11. We received an email from the applicant's representative, and they'd like to be continued to the September 26, 2024.
All right, let's get a motion to open the public hearing.
Move to open public hearings.
We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. And then we have a motion from Councilmember Clendenin to continue item number 6 to September 26, 2024, 5:01 p.m., 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33602. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Thank
Yes,
you very
sir.
much.
All right, then Planning Commission, you have one item.
Yes, Danny Collins with your Planning Commission staff. This pertains to item 4 on your agenda. This is TACPA 2408. This is a request from the Planning Commission to remove this item from the agenda.
We have motion
Second.
to remove item number 4 from the agenda from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Miranda. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
in lieu of the fact we have a short agenda, may we have the kids come up and introduce themselves?
Sure. So I'd like to welcome the Mayor's Youth Corps and Miss Molly Biebel. If the members would like to come up one by one, come up to the lectern and state your name and tell us what school you go to.
I'll start. Thank you so much, Council, for having us tonight. My name is Molly Biebel, and I am the Youth Development Coordinator for the City of Tampa, and I'm a proud Chamberlain High School and USF grad. But I'm definitely a grad, so I'm not going to give you my grade level. All right. So name, grade level, and then microphone is right built into the podium.
Hello, my name is Rishi Kamdar. I'm a senior at Robinson High School in the IB program.
If you're a senior, can you state your future plans, please? Just
I want to go to business at either Yale or UPenn.
Okay, well, good luck with that.
Very good.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Hi, I'm Raju Patel. I'm a senior at Middleton High School in the Biomed program, and I also want to go into business, probably at Harvard or UPenn.
All right.
Good evening. My name is Ishan Sakamori, and I'm a junior at Middleton High School, and I'm in the cybersecurity program.
Great. Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Kingston Ward. I'm a senior at Middleton High School in the engineering program, and as to my future, I'm still undecided.
Thank you very
Hi, I'm
much.
Michelle Naveen. I'm a junior at Middleton High School.
I'm Ava Doty. I'm a junior at Tampa Catholic High School.
Right on.
My name is Nesty Penn. I'm a junior at Middleton High School senior at Middleton High School, and I'm looking to get into business in art.
Good evening. My name is Emma Kunkel. I'm a sophomore at Tampa Prep, and I'm in the STEM program.
I'm Sharvagna Sangaraju, a senior at Middleton High School, and I'm looking forward to international relations / political economy at UC Berkeley.
Hi, I'm Camille, and I'm a sophomore at the Academy of the Holy Names.
Hi, I'm Riddy. I'm at Middleton High School as a sophomore, and I'm in the Biomed program. Good evening. My name is Sneha Balaji, and I'm a junior at Strawberry Crest High School. Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Kaz from Strawberry Crest High School.
Hi, I'm Peyton Pickett. I'm a senior at the Academy of the Holy Names, and I'm interested in going into pre-law at the University of Florida.
Don't do it. Just get it.
That's wonderful.
Well, welcome to City Council
Welcome.
evening meeting.
Yep, welcome. An exciting agenda awaits. Councilmember Vieira
He says with a tone of sarcasm.
is here for the record. All right. I hope you enjoy our meeting this evening. It will be short. Let's start with item number 1.
Good evening, Danny Collins with your Planning Commission staff. Our first item on the agenda is TACPA 2403. This is a privately initiated map amendment pertaining to multiple folios that are generally located south of the East Bush Boulevard and North Brook Street intersection. Again, this is a privately initiated amendment. It's small scale in size. Subject site's approximately 0.6 acres, and the request is to change the future land use designation from the residential 10 to the light industrial. Here is an aerial map of the subject site and the surrounding properties. You'll see the subject site. It's outlined in this yellow color. It's just to the south of East Bush Boulevard and covers, it encompasses property across North 13th Street, North Brook Street, and North 14th Street. This subject site's approximately 0.38 miles east of the Nebraska Avenue and East Bush Boulevard intersection. The surrounding development pattern along Bush Boulevard is predominantly commercial, heavy intensive commercial uses with some in light industrial. As we move south off Bush Boulevard, we get into a single-family detached residential neighborhood. The subject site's within the University Planning District, and it's within the Sulphur Springs neighborhood. Here is an image of the subject site. This is looking west at the subject site and the adjacent residence from North Brook Street. This right here is a portion of the subject site. This is not. This is a single-family detached residence. This is looking east at the subject site from North Brook Street. This is another image looking east at the subject site from North 13th Street. This is an image looking west into the subject site from North 13th Street. This is just looking south along North Brook Street at some of the residential uses surrounding the subject site. This is looking west on North 13th Street across from the subject site. This is just looking just to the north of the subject site, looking east along the CSX Railway adjacent to the East Bush Boulevard. Here is the adopted future land use map. As you can see, the subject site shown in this, it's outlined in black. This tan color represents the residential 10 designation. That's the adopted future land use of the subject site. It allows development up to 10 dwelling units per acre. That designation is also to the east, west, and south of the subject site. To the north of the subject site, represented by this gray color, is light industrial. So as you can see, there is an immediate transition between the light industrial and to the residential 10 to the south. Here is the proposed future land use map. This change would recognize all folios, including the application under light industrial designation. So it would bring that light industrial down to the south off East Bush Boulevard. Here's a slide showing the potential impacts of the proposed change. Under the residential 10 future land use designation, the subject site can be considered for a maximum of 6 dwelling units, or approximately 9,147 square feet of non-residential uses. Any non-residential uses under the residential 10 designation would be required to meet commercial locational criteria. As proposed under the light industrial designation, this would remove the consideration of residential uses from the subject site. It would increase the allowable FAR on the subject site up to a 1.5 FAR and allow approximately 39,204 square feet of non-residential uses on the subject site. This request would introduce the consideration of commercial intensive uses, CG uses, as well as IG uses on the subject site. This went off to our reviewing agencies. There was an objection from the City of Tampa staff. This item went to the Planning Commission board on August 12th. The Planning Commission overall found the request consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the comprehensive plan. Specifically, they found it consistent with the LU policy 8.9.2, which encourages the continued intensification and existing of industrial warehousing and distribution facilities, and also the policy supports the policy that provides opportunities for new warehousing and distribution activities in select locations to provide a range of employment opportunities in Tampa's residents. Overall, the Planning Commission recommended that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan. That concludes my presentation. Available for any questions.
Any questions? No? Thank you very much. Yes, sir?
Good evening, City Council. Ryan Manassi with Johnson Pope, 400 North Ashley Drive, Suite 3100. If I can have the presentation pulled up, please. Do I see it on screen too? I don't know, the screen didn't switch over though. John, do you know how to do that? There we go, all right. Good evening again, Ryan Manassi for the record. We're here tonight, like Danny stated, regarding the multiple addresses and the folios that function as one zoning lot. As staff stated, we are requesting the change from the Res 10 category, the R10, to Light Industrial, LI. My client is John Messina, the owner of Tampa Spring Company, which has been operating at this location since 1969. They utilize multiple yards and buildings for vehicle repair operations with the storage of those vehicles before and after those repairs are made, which is very typical for this type of use. And something just to point out, and I know Danny went to it, but I think it's important to note this Planning Commission recap. On August 12th, the Planning Commission voted and found our amendment to be consistent with the comprehensive plan. Specifically, the commissioners made note of land use objective 8.9 and policy 8.9.2 in their resolution to City Council. And this is important as the premise behind the land use objective and policy is to recognize industrial land for their support to economics in the city and to preserve industrial lands and encourage continued intensification in locations, and we believe in this location. So here's an aerial, shows you the requested area and the makeup of the surrounding neighborhood. You could see, I just wanted to point out some of those intense commercial and industrial uses further south, and those are all within the R10 category as well. And you kind of see those more in the bottom right of your screen. And then a 3D image, the yellow is our subject request. You can see the operation is existing and it's been that way for some time. And that blue shaded area is the remainder of the property. So really it's the blue and the yellow consist of the entire operation for our client, but again, the yellow is the part of the request before you tonight. I know Danny showed it in the pictures, but just to the south there, you have the CSX tracks as well as Bush Boulevard. So I reviewed the existing uses, and shown here is in blue is single-family residential. The yellow are duplexes, which appear to be non-conforming, and the purple are commercial or other type of industrial type uses, some of which would be non-conforming with their land use designation as well. This is a unique neighborhood which is made up of multiple uses, some intense, which abut each other, and it's been that way for some time. The site limits access points and the direct route for businesses north to Bush Boulevard, which is a 6-lane designated transit corridor. The only access to the site is on North 13th Street and North Brook Street, and as you can see from the previous slide, we encompass multiple streets along Bush and Lemon. Many uses in this area appear to be non-conforming with their land use category and are in similar circumstances like our request. I wanted to show you the zoning map because the red area that's hashed or dashed is our request. And you can see there that zoning district IG is actually part of that. And that's because there's an inconsistency with the plan. So part of our request has IG zoning, but the underlying future land use category is R10. The remaining 2 parcels, one to the south of the IG and then all the way to the east, are that peach colored R10. And just a note, I can't point on the screen. I don't know if this cursor does. But on Brook Street, one of the zoning lots is half zone IG and RS50. So this would make it a consistent land use category so we can do the subsequent rezoning. This line, you could see it actually zigzags north and south, the zoning line. It doesn't exactly match up with that future land use category line that you saw in Danny's presentation, where it's more that straight left, east to west, nice straight line. You could see the IG dips down south, cuts up north, dips down again, It's obviously there's inconsistencies with the plan and the zoning that's existing on the property in the area. I just wanted to point out, City of Tampa planning staff did object, but they utilized 2 criteria in their report. And as you see on screen, highlighting yellow on the right side there, staff did find that we met both criteria, and the remaining 10 agencies or departments in the city had no objections to our request. And I think that's in part because, you know, this R10 against the LI has been that way for some time, and really it's just remaining that way. So there's several objectives and policies that support our request, and I have them here on screen. I promise I won't read them all, but I did submit this to the record. And what I would like to point out again is land use policy 8.9.2, to encourage the continued intensification and existence of industrial warehousing and distribution facilities, and provide opportunities for new warehousing distribution activities in select locations to provide a range of employment opportunities for Tampa's residents. I think that's very important, and I think the Planning Commission saw that as well. So our request promotes reasonable expansion of the LI category in this area that is uniquely categorized while maintaining the area the business has operated in for 55 years. This indicates that it's not an expansion of the LI into the R10, but simply the preservation of the LI category and the like uses in the area. Additionally, the approval of this amendment will preserve the industrial uses in this area, which, as we know, industrial lands have been drastically reduced in the recent years in the city of Tampa. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions should you have any, and we'd request your approval.
Any questions for the gentleman? Seeing none, thank you very much. Is there anything further to the presentation? If not, I'll go to public comment. Is there anybody in the public that wishes to speak on item number 1? I see no one.
Motion closed.
And there's nobody registered. Motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Miranda, would you like to read item number 1?
Yes, sir. Item number 1, file number TACPA 24-3, ordinance being presented for first reading consideration. An ordinance amending the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, future land use element, future land use map for the property located 8901 North 13th Street and 8814 North 14th Street and 8813 and 8820 North Brook Street from residential 10, R10, to light industrial, providing for repeal of all ordinance of conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
Second. We have a motion from Councilmember Miranda, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion carried unanimously with Hurtak being absent. Second reading and adoption will be held on September 19th, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m. in City Council Chambers, Old City Hall, Tampa, Florida. 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, City Council.
Yes, sir. Item number 2. Yes, ma'am.
Emily Phelan, Planning Commission staff. This is TACPA 2409, and it's generally located northwest of the intersection of North Massachusetts Avenue and West Braddock Street. This is privately initiated, small scale. It's approximately 0.11 acres, and the request is to go from residential 10 to residential 20. This, the subject sites in the Central Tampa Planning District, the Tampa Heights Urban Village, and the Tampa Heights neighborhood. The subject site is outlined here, and to the east of the subject site is Plymouth Playground. To the north and south and west of the subject site are single-family homes. This is a TICO substation, and further north to the subject site over here is the Woodlawn Cemetery. This is looking at the subject site. This is the single-family detached north of the subject site. This is the south of the subject site. This is the Plymouth Playground, which is to the east. The subject site is outlined here in black and is represented with the residential 10 designation. As you can see from the map, to the north, south, and west of the subject site is surrounded by the residential 10 designation, and to the east, where the Plymouth Playground is recreational open space, and further to the west of the subject site in this light tan color is the urban mixed use, is a suburban mixed use 6 designation. Again, the subject site is here and it's represented with the residential 20 designation, which the subject site is proposing. These are the potential impacts of the subject site. Currently, under the residential 10 designation, the site could have one dwelling unit and slightly over 1,600 square feet of non-residential uses if locational criteria was met. Under the proposed residential 20 designation, the subject site could be considered for 2 units and just slightly under 2,400 square feet of non-residential uses if locational criteria was met. Locational criteria does become broader under the residential 20 designation, but it would still be limited to neighborhoods serving commercial uses. This was sent to our reviewing agencies, and the City of Tampa did object to this request. This went to the Planning Commission, and they found it consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan. Specifically, they found that it was consistent with relating new development to the context of the neighborhood, and it would also promote a range of uses in close proximity to each other. And with that, the Planning Commission recommended that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan. And that concludes my presentation if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Nope. Thank you. Applicant? Hello, please say your name.
Hi, good afternoon. Good evening, actually. My name is Matt St. Green. I live at 410 West Park Avenue. I am a authorized agent, and I'm also the property owner. Should have a presentation coming up on it.
There it is.
Awesome. So a little bit of background. I think you guys have seen me multiple times up here. I'm active on the Tampa Heights Civic Association, on the CAC for the TPO. I stay really, really active within the community. I'm also a developer and a home builder. One of the big things is that I want to maintain the consistency of our neighborhood and also enhance affordability. Kind of give an idea of what I do and what I've built. These are kind of examples of what it is that I've done within the community. These are all blocks away from the subject. The real reason that I'm seeking to do this and the why is missing middle. I know that everybody talks about affordability, especially in Tampa Heights. You know, when I moved there 11 years ago, it was affordable, it was close, it was convenient. I love my neighbors, and slowly but surely, people are getting priced out. So the home that I live in now, I would never be able to afford. And so one of the big keys for me and my legacy is to ensure that I'm keeping Tampa Heights into something that pushes affordability, pushes support of our transportation systems, and by increasing density, that's something that we can achieve. And so one of the biggest things that I think I took out of this whole thing is right now, Tampa ranks at the very bottom for affordability. And we have to do something about it. I know that everybody hears constituents speak about this all the time, and this is actually doing something about it. And the biggest thing really is that there are duplexes and townhomes in this area that have been there for 100 years. They've been 75, 80 years. They're peppered throughout the community. That's a part of my neighborhood. Is also a reason to give affordability. And as we have people coming up, going from renting to looking to own, I could build this, but it's going to have a price tag of over $1 million. I don't want that. I want people to be able to afford something in this community. So when I looked at this plot of land, I looked at it based on walkability and connection. So one of the big things about it is that you can actually walk to Tampa Street and take the bus down. You're across from a park. We're actually up the street from a church. I mean, it's a walkable community. We're just walking distance to the school down south. And if we look at it the way that planners often do is we go from a lot of commercial on North Boulevard that's not represented in the map. And you can see here, these are all commercial. So this is one block over. So as we step down, the density makes sense in this location. Other thing too is it actually supports transit-oriented development. I mean, one of the big keys of doing that is to increase density of housing so we can support our transportation needs as we try to get away from the car and parking cycle that we've kind of stuck ourselves in Tampa. Compatibility, basically, Tampa Heights is an urban village. It derives its character not from being a one-size-fits-all. So when we look at the maps, you don't really get a good taste for it because there's a ton of non-conforming R10 in this area, And actually, one house north of mine is actually duplex, but it doesn't show up on the map. So for council to look at it, sometimes it's hard because there's non-conforming all over the place. I'm gonna give you guys a picture of it. Each one of these stars, there's 11 of them, basically show multifamily or duplex products. It's duplexes, triplexes, up to 8plexes peppering this neighborhood. Namely, the biggest one is skip one lot and go down south. That's a duplex. Go across the park and we have Graham's Hostel. I mean, so there's a hostel in the middle of our neighborhood. So a part of our character is by having density. And legal nonconforming, I think, will kind of solve itself in the future. But I'm a little developer. I don't have time to sit on land for 3 years for things to work themselves out. So these are examples like within the community. So each one of those dots line up with one of these. That's a triplex. Next to that's an 8plex. And these are duplexes within the same neighborhood. As you can kind of see, the whole neighborhood has different types, different looks, but it's all duplex and multifamily. The fun thing about it is 3108, which you see on the far right-hand side, is actually 2 houses down from this parcel of land. So to say that it's not consistent with the neighborhood and the character would be a misrepresentation. What we're looking for is viable new construction, which all these have been built in the last couple of years, that support that. And namely, if you look at 210 Columbus, this is a duplex in historic district. So these are nothing new to Tampa Heights. So giving this allows us to drive affordability with our neighborhood and build the variety of housing options that we're trying to achieve. These are my prototypes, actually, that I'm working on. So to support the cause and the code that's already there, I think policy 123, which is compatibility, I think it is compatible. I think that it does speak to the neighborhood. You know, further down it'll give the need for affordability and recognize that as things change and we see pricing increasing, that we're gonna have to change some of our policies to make that happen. So the project vision basically supports density, walkability, and tying in for our transportation needs in the future. This is a duplex, so I think it's gonna be a maximum of 2 units, so I can't do anything beyond a duplex. And to ensure that I stay within the lines of what I'm supposed to do know that I was one of the people who assisted with the Tampa Heights Overlay District. So that overlay district is also going to control the zoning side of it and the building side of it as we get further down the process. I intentionally did not do the rezoning at this meeting because I know council prefers to have comp plan done first and then zoning done later. So tons of different examples on why I believe this should be supported. The biggest one is basically there's a ton of grandfathered development within the R10 that is legal, non-compatible. Let's see, I think that's it. Here's all the policies that I believe support our vision. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Wait, do we have anybody in the public that wishes to speak on this item, item number 2? We have a motion to close from Councilmember Henderson. Do we have a second? Second. Second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Go ahead, sir.
This is one of those interesting ones because coming into here, I really didn't think I was going to support this because when you look at the map, but you came in very prepared and with the examples of the nonconformity and you're very well prepared. So I mean, it completely shifted my view of the I mean, I'm familiar with the neighborhood, but not to that degree where I know, you know, where these non-conforming duplexes were, to see that it's already existing in that neighborhood, and you had a transportation-oriented development. So it was a good comprehensive presentation. So it was definitely shifted my view on this. So thanks for coming so well prepared.
I absolutely agree with what the council member said, and also the missing metal. You know, we talk about affordability, and you know, in comparison to other products that you've built, you know, it's, you know, you respect the neighborhood. I'm not talking about a future rezoning or anything, but you understand, you know, living in the community, you know, being respectful to the architectural design, to the character and makeup. So I think, no, I'm happy to support it. Councilmember Carlson.
Yeah, I want to say pretty much the same thing. Thank you for being so well prepared and so knowledgeable about the neighborhood and sensitive to the neighborhood. You if you, I'm sure you are already, but you and Brian should talk to the consultant who's doing the zoning. There's got to be a special category in other cities for what you're doing that's different. That's an issue for another day, but there's got to be a category for what you do that where we can encourage more people to do this.
All right, anybody else?
I just want to say that I know the area very well. That's where Jefferson High School has to go to practice baseball, because they never had a diamond when I was there. And everybody else, the Plant and Hillsborough had their own deal. And we had to walk in the Sandsburg and Fethick thing to practice to beat Jefferson, to beat Plant and Hillsborough both. But anyway, it is what it is. And the only thing I want to question, not to you directly, but I see where you point something 40-some% according to income, right? But that's a number that could be higher or lower depending who you're speaking with as far as income.
Right, so they're saying that 57 cents of it.
Come up.
I'm not questioning, I'm just saying that when I read that, it tells me, well, it might be factual, but it's not perfect.
Right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Could they afford diamonds back then? Was it more like a triangle?
Pardon me?
Could they afford a diamond back then? Was it more like a triangle?
We handled all the Diamondbacks as snakes.
Councilmember Viera, would you mind reading item number 2?
Yes, sir. I move an ordinance being presented for first reading consideration, an ordinance amending the Tampa Comprehensive Plan Future Land Use Element, Future Land Use Map for the property located northwest of the intersection of North Massachusetts Avenue and West Braddock Street, folio number 182-406-0005 from residential 10R10 to residential 20R20, providing for repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Viera and the second from Councilmember Clendenin. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Motion carried unanimously with Hurtak being absent. Second reading and adoption will be held on September 19, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m. in City Council Chambers, 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
All right, last item of the afternoon. We haven't even hit the evening. Yes, sir.
Danny Collins, again with your Planning Commission staff, this is TACPA 2410. This is for the property located at 2101 West Main Street. This is a publicly initiated amendment by the city CRA. It is small scale in size. There's approximately 0.22 acres, and the request is to change the future land use from the community commercial 35 to the recreation open space category. Site's within the Central Tampa Planning District. It's within the West Tampa Urban Village, and it's within the old West Tampa neighborhood. Here's an aerial map of the subject site and the surrounding properties. You'll see the subject site outlined in yellow. It's at the northwest corner of North Albany Avenue and West Main Street, just north of the interstate. There are some non-residential uses to the south of the subject site with some residential uses to the north of the subject site. Here's an image looking towards the subject site from North Albany Avenue. It's another image of the subject site. This is looking along West Main Street, looking west along West Main Street towards North Howard Avenue. This is standing at the southeast corner of West Main Street and North Howard Avenue. Here is the adopted future land use map. Currently, the subject site's recognized under the CC 35 future land use designation. That's a mixed use land use category. Allows development up to 35 dwelling units per acre or up to a 2.0 FAR. To the north of the subject site, we have some residential 20. That CC 35 is to the east, south, and west of the subject site, and then one block south is the interstate. Here is the proposed future land use category, showing the recreation open space category on the subject site. Currently, under the CC 35 designation, the subject site can be considered for 7 dwelling units, or just over 19,160 square feet of non-residential or residential uses. This change to the recreation open space category would remove the consideration of residential and commercial uses from the subject site. The proposed amendment will eliminate the potential of commercial residential development on the subject site. This went to the Planning Commission on August 12th. The Planning Commission recommended found the request to be consistent with a number of recreation open space policies of the comprehensive plan, and overall just protecting and creating parkland in the city. Based on those considerations, the Planning Commission recommended that the proposed map amendment be found consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan. That concludes my presentation. I think there's a member from the CRA here. To go over it.
Fun fact trivia question. Do you know what was historically on this property?
At the corner.
The West Tampa City Hall building.
I'm not that old.
I know, this is before your time. You don't count, you don't count.
When was West Tampa converted into the city?
1925.
When was it torn down?
I don't know, 1925 is when the city annexed West Tampa, so, but that's where the City Hall building stood, so.
For the city of
Yes,
West
sir,
Tampa.
please state your name.
Yes, good evening, Council. Bryce Farringer with your Tampa CRA staff. As Mr. Collins stated in his presentation, this plan amendment application seeks to ensure that the existing park use on the site is protected for a long-term basis. The ultimate goal of the CRA is to redevelop the park and add it to the city's official inventory. This application plays an essential role in preserving the site as a community gathering space, which directly aligns with the West Tampa Community Advisory Committee's vision for the site. The request is also consistent with Section 9.2 of the West Tampa Community Redevelopment Plan, which seeks the development of public park space and amenities interior to the CRA district. Similarly, Section 11.4 allows for TIF funds to be utilized to improve existing parks and fund additional park spaces as well. Tampa CRA staff strongly support this application. Brenda Thrower and I are both here and can answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions? Nope. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on item number 3? I see no one. Motion to close from Councilmember Clendenin, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilmember Henderson, item number 3.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I move file number TACPA 2410, an ordinance being presented for first reading consideration, an ordinance amending the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, future land use element, future land use map for the property located at 2101 West Main Street from Community Commercial 35, CC 35 to Recreational Open Space R/OS, providing for repeal of all ordinances in conflict, providing for severability, providing an effective date.
We have a motion from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Vieira. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. That
Motion
concludes-
carried unanimously, Hurtak being absent. Second reading and adoption will be held on September 19, 2024 at 10 o'clock a.m. in City Council's chambers, 315 East Kennedy Boulevard, 3rd floor, Tampa, Florida, 33602.
It's normally not this quick for all the students out there.
Yep. All right, that concludes the agenda.
Thank you for coming and made it that quick.
Yep. We're gonna go to new business. We'll kick it off with Councilmember Carlson. Do you have anything, sir?
Yeah, two things. One is just to say congrats to all the students here, and the mayor will probably write letters of recommendation, but if you all need help from us, let us know. Also, many of the things you all are interested in are the same things we've been involved in, and so if you look at our backgrounds and you find that we might be able to connect you with some places here, we're happy to do that. And most importantly, please come back after college. We need all of you to come back and help lead the community. And if you're looking for opportunities when you graduate college and you can't find any, come talk to us. The last thing is, remember this morning we had a conversation about alcohol, and Howard Avenue came up a lot. I talked to some of the South Howard Neighborhood Association today, and I know this is available on Acela, but they would like a map of Howard Avenue, just one block on each side from Kennedy down to Bayshore, that shows visually what the current alcohol entitlements are and hours of operation for each of the properties all the way down, just so they can have an updated view of it. I think that we had a version of this years ago, so it might be easy to update, but there are 6 or 8 neighborhood associations along there that would like to see that information just so they can get updated. So I'd make a motion to have to ask city staff to create a map of the alcohol license and hours of operation on Howard Avenue from Kennedy to Bayshore to present as a written report only to the October 3rd meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Yes, sir?
I don't think Teddy, like to Cleveland, I don't think there's any there. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But Kennedy's fine.
There's the Rose Bar. I think it's like the northernmost, but. Yep.
The Circle K may have it, that kind of stuff.
The question came up this morning, you all were talking a lot about, and Steve McLean was talking about the difference between restaurants and bars.
Yeah.
And people are
There's
just
a lot of
curious,
that.
which
In
ones are
fact,
restaurants and which ones are
Both
bars?
of those were, I remember, we just leased the land across the street. Well, the lease is valid as long as they say,
Yeah.
you got 30 days to leave, you gotta leave. I mean, they got what they wanted, you got nothing.
All in favor? Oh, yes, sir.
Just a bit of a confusion. Bars are a category, restaurants, and then there are things what they call small venue and large venue that also come in, and how that's by number of seats, and how that fits into it. So some things that might have been characterized at one point differently a few years ago, by now it's probably many years ago, they changed the classifications to small venue and large venue. And
So-
I believe certain categories with regard to restaurants can be administratively granted and don't come to city council.
So I think I just said liquor licenses, so that would be inclusive of all the different.
Liquor license is a state designation.
Okay, so what should I say?
So it would be an alcoholic beverage permit.
Okay, alcoholic, sorry, I need to change the motion to instead of liquor license. Should I say both?
No.
Just alcoholic beverage permits instead of liquor license, please.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Anything else? Anything, sir? I do not. Ma'am?
Yes, thank you, Chair, and my microphone's on. Since it's
not here, so you don't have.
Yeah, we already received written report, file number CM 246819 regarding the motion that I made for Julian B. Lane, that was seconded by Vieira. I want for us to establish a workshop on September 26th regarding the contract discussion and recommendations for Julian B. Lane on September 26th. There's no other opportunity to do it this year besides September, and the contract is due for renewal in April.
All right, motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Could I just ask, since we can't talk outside, what was do you have any
For the
initial,
vendors and.
do you have any initial feedback from the memo that was submitted today about the creative loafing?
Yeah, interesting enough, they did say that we do specifically allow outside vendors to work under one of our other vendors if they want to come in, especially for charitable events, is one of the things that they reference, which is fine, but in this instance, it wasn't advertised as a charitable event. They did give a portion of it to a laundry project, and they said that very briefly, but it was clearly a creative loafing event, so I don't want to get into the weeds with that. But I just know that we need to be very transparent in discussing Julian B. Lane's current situation and how we can improve it. There is absolutely no equity in who utilizes it, and special occasions at times is what they reference. At times we will allow other people to come in, and so it's just not very clear, and the public has been asking for this. I'm stealing a word from Councilman Carson. The public has been asking, and so this September workshop will allow us to put our 2 cents in, get to hear from the public, and make recommendations so that staff can come up with a contract that is more appealing to the community and also provide the community with an opportunity to utilize a facility that is a park. And I'll just leave it at that.
Fair enough. We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Anything else, ma'am? Nope. All right, Councilmember Vieira.
Nothing, just happy Labor Day to everybody on Monday, and I know we have 3 council members who are or were union members, and Councilwoman Henderson, Councilman Clendenin, Councilwoman Hurtak, so happy Labor Day to everybody, and to all the good folks in the Mayor's Youth Corps, thank y'all for coming here. As they said, it's much shorter than typical, and I think I'm speaking to y'all in October, I think. Is it Miss Beeble, and who does a wonderful job. We're so happy to have Molly Beeble here. She's amazing, and just look forward to talking to y'all and boring y'all for however long I get to talk.
How did you get to speak to him and we don't? How did we get?
Don't ask me the way the economy works. I don't know, but I was going to ask if you guys want. I mean, if it's permissible, if you guys want to come by, and it's not anything special, but if you want to look at our offices behind or whatever, just please. Yeah, actually, you have a really cool office. Mine is like emotionally unbalanced. So no, mine's very weird. But that's all. So thank you.
Yes, sir. Councilman Miranda?
Well, you see why he invited you? Because he cleaned the office out so you can see it.
Yeah.
Amazing, the guy. He's real smart. I'm only joking with you. But muchísimas gracias por estar aquí esta tarde. It's a pleasure for you all to be here. I encourage you to learn another language. It'll always be wonderful, no matter what language it is. Así que buenas tardes a todos. Thank you for la maestra Ruiz Vivo, que está haciendo un trabajo fantástico con ustedes, y el alcalde por tener ustedes la reputación de estar aquí con nosotros esta tarde. Muchísimas gracias. Figure that out and you get an A. However, let me just say this. Mr. Chairman, you made a statement about what was that building on the east side of what? Maine and Albany? What was on the west side of Maine and Albany?
On the west side of Maine and Albany.
I'm going to tell you, you're not going to believe it. The Pallbearers Union building.
Really? The Pallbearers Union. Well, now we know.
Look it up.
All right.
Bexley's Chicken was across the street, too.
That's right. And then farther down was Cozy Corner. And you know who ate at Cozy Corner that people don't know, because the
Elvis.
person that has the photo doesn't want to publish it yet. Marvin Gaye.
Really?
Marvin Gaye was on
Rest
Main
his soul,
Street
wow.
eating with the white paint, Moses White's sons. Yeah, but when he publishes his book, he'll show the picture. So
Hey, now you
Motion to
bored all
receive
the
and file.
students to death.
Marvin Gaye. And can I get a motion to receive and file?
So moved.
Give it to you.
All right, motion
Second.
from Councilmember Henderson, second from Councilmember Clendenin. I'm sorry, Carlson. All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.